Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dee Reinhardt. I am with Illinois WorkNet, who is the contractor, Southern Illinois University, who is the contractor for the ISETS program that we're building the tool. And today we are doing a session. We're going to do a bit of a demonstration first. We're going to collect any questions that you might have and answer them in the question and answer session. And then after we are done answering the questions, I will help anyone who was not able to access their tool. We'll do that after all the questions are answered. Just to let you know, and we have alerted the IDHS staff, the top staff, that the supported browsers for this tool are Microsoft Edge Chromium, the latest version, and you can check to see what versions those are, Firefox, and or Google Chrome. We do not support Internet Explorer 11, and we do not support the Edge legacy version. So those are both expired platforms to use. If you have policy questions related to ISETS functions as far as the program, then you would send those to Andrea Grabmeyer, and her email address is there on the screen. And then if you have questions about the ISETS tool, you can send those questions to me. It's always best if you do have a question, you want to send an email, that you send it to both of us, just so that in case it is a tool question, then I would see it. And if it's a policy question, then Andy would see it. So if you are ready to go, I will start on the information. Today's session is specifically designed for DHS staff who are located at FCRC, who have referral partners associated with their program. So if by some chance you are watching and you are not one of those people, there might be another session tomorrow or Friday, or scheduled for next week, that you can attend and see specific details for that. So I'm going to minimize this, and I am logged in as a partner who has FCRC access with referral partners. So looking at the program, once you are logged in using one of the supported browsers, you are able to get to the partner page by using that test link that will give you the ISETS tool. And if you are following along as we're demonstrating right now, you can then click on the ISETS group name. And just to let you know, for those of you who may have been around, this is modeled off of the EPIC program that we did several years ago. So you can see some similarities, and we have made some enhancements along the way as well. Once you click on your group, you will see a list of customers that are associated with your particular organization. So as we are looking at this page, you can look for a customer by typing in their name. You can look for who the provider is. I'm logged in strictly as an FCRC right now, so I only see the provider here. You can search by a case number or an individual number once that information is entered into the system. Now, we do have the ability, once you enter some information there, you can search, you can export a list of those customers, and then we have a link to the billing and staffing packet tool. We go through the process here of adding a customer. Now, I'm going to just show you the screen right now for the add the customer, and then I'm going to go into the tool itself to show you what happens once you add the customer. So we click on add customer, and we have information that needs to be entered: first name, last name, date of birth. If the customer does not have an email address, you can click this box, and then it will create a fake email address for that person so that it lets you know that a new email address needs to be created. It will be the first name and last name of the customer, and then at noisetsemail.com. You will need to enter the social security number and confirm it. If at some point you might have access to more than one office, you would pick which office you want that customer associated with to make that referral. And then if you have the case number, individual number, or a pending number for those customers who are pending their application for SNAP, you would enter any of those numbers in here. Once you enter that information, you click on the search for existing customer, and it will go through the process of searching first Illinois WorkNet to see if there is a customer in our system that matches that information. And then secondly, if you put in a case number, it will search the IES database that we are receiving once a month to see if that customer is listed in that database. So once we search, then that information pops up and lets us know if we've added a new customer or if we are working with an existing customer. So I want to go into an existing customer and show you the information that is available. So Azella Hollins right here, excuse me, has been part of our program. And on the customer face, when you first complete the information for the customer, you will be asked to complete a universal assessment with the customer. Each year that that customer is with you, you will be asked to update a new assessment for that customer. Initially, they will have to complete an initial screening, and every FCRC who makes a referral to a partner agency for training will be required to complete at minimum the initial screening. And then the CBO agency, the provider agency will then complete the needs assessment for that customer. So I'm going to click on this button just to show you what's there when you go into the assessment. When you go to the needs assessment, it will abbreviate the view that you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the show hide initial screening questions. These are the questions that you would answer with your customer when you are submitting that customer for the initial activity into the system. You need to enter their address, their city, state, zip, the primary phone number associated, what kind of phone. If the applicant had did not express an email address to you during the intake, then that email address would show up azella.collins@noisetsemail.com. But this customer did have an email address. You would then need to confirm it, enter the date of birth, enter the gender at birth. This is important because if they are male at birth, they will need to follow the selective service requirements established by the federal government. We would have the social security number based on the information that you entered on the adding the customer screen. If there is a case number or a temporary number, that would show here, and what the individual number is. There is the answer for, are you the primary caretaker for anyone? Do you answer the languages that they speak fluently? You answer the additional languages that they might speak. This is not required, but if they speak additional ones, you can answer those. What is their military status? Were they an active veteran? Did they have no experience? You can pick one of these options. And then what race do they fall under? You can check multiple boxes. What is their ethnicity? There are a number of options from which to choose. Do you need assistance with applying for any type of government assistance, such as SNAP, Medicare, childcare? If you click yes, that will give you a number of items from which you can select that are associated with the application for benefits, the ABE. Answer how many people are in their SNAP household. What is their source of income? There are a number of options from which to choose. What is their SNAP monthly household income? And are they authorized to work in the United States? And then we can save and go to the next page. Since we are looking at the last the initial intake version, I'm going to just click to the next section here. Under skills and interests, they ask you a number of questions, interests that they might be able to use to apply to a program, some different scale type questions. Then some more interest pieces and what have they been doing. We can save and go to next page. We have a list of situations that the participant may need to plan around. And those items do not require an answer in each section, but they do require at least one answer in one of the sections. A number of the items have additional drop downs. So for example, I have public or private health insurance. There is a drop down if you click that box. So some of the other ones do have that same information or additional options to select. When are you able to attend training? Maybe they're not interested in training, or they can select the different options here. Once you begin your employment search, what shifts would you be willing to work? How would you get to training? How far are you willing to travel? There's a number of options in here. How long of a commute? There's a number of options in here. And then what is your immediate goal for employment? I'm just going to save and go to next page so that it pops open. And here we have assessments that they may have taken in the last 6 months. There was none taken. So we're going to save and go to next page. Then we need to find out some education information. Did this person graduate from high school? Then you would answer all of these options. I'm going to answer these. Long-term incarceration. If they weren't incarcerated, then it would be NA. Have you completed an apprenticeship? If they have any credentials from any of the training opportunities that they may have completed, then you can add a credential here. It asks you the title, what's the institution, when did they earn it, what type of credential is it? You can select from the dropdown. What is the credential source? You can select from the dropdown and then save. Since I didn't add anything, I'm just going to close that window. Save and go to next page. This is information about employment. On here, on the initial screening, it just asks from these options, what is the employment situation that they have had. On the advanced, the needs assessment, then it will ask you for what actually the employment was. And then you can add the information. If you want to view it, you can view the details of that particular job. If something is wrong in there, you can delete it and start over. Some questions that are not required about those previous jobs. And then we can save and go to next page. The employment goals are important to help place the participant in the right program. So we have some job interest things. These items are typically associated with the needs assessment, so the second part. And we can look up job interest, look up a SOC code, enter. So if I want to look up welding, I can search, I can select and add that code and save it to that file. Answer some of these other questions. I can look up LMI, labor market information for the wages, and select what an immediate job goal would be and what their hourly expectation of wage is, what's their target date. Are they interested? I guess I should make this match here. Let's make this one long-term in manufacturing, and we're going to make this also welding. And what's their hourly expectation for long-term placement? And when is their target employment date? Then we want to save and go to next page. This is training interest. As you can see, everything was completed on this particular page on the initial screening. So we'll just show you what those options are. Again, if the person is not interested in training, they can check those boxes through each of those questions to which it is applicable. Then you submit the application. You can see all of the answers, and from each of the sections you can return to make an update if, as you're looking at it on this screen, you see, oh, that answer wasn't right. So you can click back and change an answer. We're going to collapse all of these sections right now. You can then open a particular section if you want to. Now, as an FCRC who has a referral partner, the initial assessment is the only piece that needs to be done. So you can send a referral right away based on your conversation with the person, what program might they be interested in pursuing, or you can look at recommendations that are based upon the full completion of their application. So when I look at this information, it shows me some matches based upon the information that was entered through the initial assessment, as well as the needs assessment. Gives you a fuller, more complete picture of what that participant might want to pursue. If you are providing the services yourself, so like tomorrow's webinar, you might be actually adding services, but we want to actually make a referral, and we want to make this referral to Asian Human Services because we want to make the referral to Jane Addams Resource Corporation because we picked manufacturing and we know that they do a manufacturing program. So I look at this, I see the information, we see what the requirements are. We talk a little bit to our participant to see if this is something that they might want to do, and then we can send a referral. So once we open up the screen to send a referral, it pops up a modal window that you can select the provider. We've selected Jane Addams. We know that it's for Azella. We see right here the participant's name and we see their birthday. We need to obtain consent for this person from Azella to send the referral information to Jane Addams. So we need to submit for consent right here. And the birthday and username is important because initially when you first create this customer, their consent form requires username and password to complete the consent. So we know that this person was A. Collins. Whoops, I got to spell it right. 1. And then the password is the person's last name. So the last half of this and their date of birth. So that's why those two pieces are included on the referral form. So it's Collins. I'm going to start over just to make sure that I typed this properly. And then the birth date, 6-digit birth date. So 2 month, 2 day, 2 year. Click the box, submit the consent. Invalid username. Oh, you know what? I may have typed this wrong. Nope. Okay, so we need to have the consent. And then when we're completing this and we pick the option, yes, they receive SNAP. Yes, they are eligible for ENT services because you at the FCRC know that the person is or isn't eligible for both of those items. Let me take a peek here and see if sorry, I just clicked out of there. So on the referral form, as you're looking at it, I'm going to look at this one that was made to Asian Human Services. If I click on the number, it gives me the information here. So she had been referred to Asian Human Services. We have an appointment site. We can select an appointment date. We can add some additional information. This is from the provider. They tell you whether or not they accept the referral, and then you can submit. If you want to print the referral form for that customer to have in their hand, you can click on the print 2151 referral form. It will pop open on your screen if you have Adobe, and it will show you the information needed for that particular customer's referral. And then the agency to whom you refer them will complete the process. Once we have a status, so this particular customer was rejected during a previous practice session. It was rejected. So then we would see that that customer was rejected and for what reason they were rejected. We can click on the number to see all of the details. There is an option in there, a number of options for the rejection that we received from DHS specifically as we were building the tool. And then additionally, on this overview page where we landed, we see redetermination dates. And as you can see right here from the date in the box, the customer's redetermination was due on Monday. And so we have this available with a red icon so that we can help those customers complete their redetermination, especially for the agencies to help complete their redetermination. We have what their status is. We see what their level of progress is. We see SNAP numbers and eligibility statuses. Also on the overview page, we will see attendance. So once the participant has done some of their activity, we can see those particular activities. We have, if I search here, it shows me supervised job search. We have hours verified of 20.75. We have hours attended of 74.75. So if we want to go in and verify, then we can look at the hours that have been submitted and verify them. Now, this particular piece would be up to the organization that is actually providing the activity. But if you do want to go in and look to see if hours have been verified to customers for whom you have made a referral, you have access to this customer. Also back on the overview page, we see a list of the activities that the participant has been participating in, services they've received. If they have support services, we have those items available as well. So what I can do, excuse me, right, excuse me, right, sorry, let me grab a drink. So if I offer this customer some housing help right now, I select, I start. We have a planned start date of today, planned due date of next month on the 10th. Because this is for housing, I'm going to give it 1 hour. And then we can update the customer service. And then up on the top, we have a dollar value of service. We are issuing a direct payment. Start date is today. The payment cost is, I do not know what the cap is on this, so I'm just going to put in $500, and we're offering this one time. And this is to pay for back utilities. Oh my goodness, if I could type, I'd be dangerous. Utilities. And I'm going to save this. And we see this down here. We can edit it if we want to. Then if we go back to the customer's overview page, we will now see under support services that we issued a $500 utility payment. And if I click on the bar, it is going to give me some more details. We can also see that on the summary tools and see the details. And right here, we can go back and edit it as well. And if we need to, we can export the list of all of the support services that have been issued. Back on the overview page, we can also check to see if our customer that we referred has been exited. We can see if credentials have been added. I'm going to close these up. And we can see if employment has been added, and if the employment has been added, then we can check to see if there is the 30, 60, or 90-day employment verification added to this customer's information here in their profile. On the intake and referral tab, we see when the last screening date was, when the last needs assessment was. We can view the completed assessments. We can view recommended providers. We can complete a new assessment for the new year. We can send referrals like we just did for that referral person. We can add activities for our location or check to see what activities through the IEP case management plan is. And then we can mark the customer as eligible or not participating. If news comes through about them becoming ineligible, you as the FCRC have the ability to mark them as ineligible on their overview page. So we have eligibility status right here. Remember, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat. We'll be happy to answer them during the question and answer portion of our webinar. Now, we do have a dashboard associated with this system. So I want to show you here on the dashboard. For you and your customers, we do have a top piece. So we have goals associated in the blue boxes. We have what is currently active for this program year, that is green for exceeds goals. We have yellow for things that meet goals, and then we have red for things that do not meet goals. If there is no blue bar, this information is just being gathered for potential future goals, but we do track this information so that the people who fund the program will be able to see what's going on. We also took some advice from one of our feedback sessions to do a green, yellow, red kind of color bar for a snapshot view of what's going on with the customers in your particular group of customers. So everything will default to a snapshot view. And as you can see from above, items that are in the green are good. They meet everything that they need to be happening right now. Anybody in the yellow means they need action. Maybe a referral wasn't completed, or maybe a redetermination has not been completed. And if they're red flags, those items are either past due or very close to past due. And then if there is nothing in a box, you will not see the color. It will just be outlined with the outline color of that particular item. In some of the items, we do have a graph view. And with this graph view, you can click on the item to see more details. We can see different components based upon what that item is dealing with. And then we also have a list view that has all of the details associated with that. And you see the color yellow, red, or green. Gray is just informational. Those items are not counting toward the current performance in the red, yellow, and green areas. If you click on any of the numbers, so for example, if I click on this 16, it's reverse referrals pending IDHS response. You can click on the info bubble to see what the details are and where those pieces come from. And then you can click in here to get to instructions if you need to see how to do the next step. If you click on the number, it takes you to a list of the customers requiring that action. And then it will, if you click on the last name of the person, it will take you to that customer's profile. So we see Azella Collins here again. We see some other customers who are in the list. If we're looking at the list, we can click the top of that column to alphabetize them or reverse alphabetize them. Same thing with each of the other columns. You can put them in order based upon the organization to whom they are associated. So this particular Marcus Blackman was referred to Asian Human Services, but because he was referred from, I'm working as Lower North right now, because he was referred from Lower North, he will still show up in my list so that I can keep track of the services that are being offered, the attendance, all of the different components that are associated with a monthly staffing. Speaking of, we will have another session specifically based upon this billing and staffing tools. Okay, I believe it is now time for questions. So if you have any specific questions, Leanne, did we have any questions during the presentation?
No.
All right, so if you have specific questions and would like to open up your microphone right now, you may do that, or you may type them into the chat pod. And we do want to track the questions just so that we know what section they're about and or what area, if it's a policy or if it's a tool question. All right, I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to type questions or to open up your microphone if you would like to. No. Jennifer, no. It will look the same, but it is not the same. All right, I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you for watching. And we will go into any specific assistance that you might need using your practice customers. So thank you for watching.